Hey guys, today we're going to do a quick tutorial on learning how to make a washable, reusable coloring shirt with HTV. This is very popular with the younger children and toddlers, just so that they can color the design on the shirt and then you can wash it and it comes out and they can color it again. So let's get started. The supplies you will need is one sheet of HTV, any color. I recommend black or a dark color because you're only going to be cutting out the outline of the image. You need one child's shirt. I recommend white. You could also use a lighter color shirt if you'd like. I just always use white. You need a heat press or an iron. You need a black and white coloring page. One pack of super washable markers. Okay, so now we need to get our image. So we're going to go to Google, and what I did was I looked up puppy black and white coloring pages, and I just went through there and found one that I liked, and this is the one that we're going to use. So I'm going to right click, copy image, go back to Studio, right click, paste in front. Depending on the size of your image, you may have to make it larger and you may have to make it smaller. In my case, I need to make it smaller, so I clicked on the image. I'm going to take the nodes and I'm going to pull it down just to make it a little bit smaller. Of course, we need to trace this image. So we're going to choose select trace area, and I'm only going to trace the parts that I want. I don't want the little grass parts that are on the bottom, so I'm going to be sure not to include those in my trace. Okay, now with high pass filter on, leave it checked and move your value all the way to 300. That's as high as it will go. And then click trace. Depending on your image, you may need to mess with the high pass filter value may need to be lower, or you may find it better to use the low pass filter and mess with that in the threshold. It's just going to depend on the image. Okay, so I'm going to move that image out of the way, and now we're left with the outline. So I'm going to click the image and I'm going to put a color to it just so I can see what it's going to look like. And that is what it's going to look like when it's cut out. And when you weed your HTV, all the spaces that are gray here are going to be open for your child or the person that you're giving the shirt to color. So there's a lot of opportunity to color this image. Now I'm using a little girl's Faded Glory from Walmart, a 6XX shirt. So I know I need to make this design. You can open up your shirt and you can measure it and see where you want to place it and do your measurement that way. I'm going to uncheck lock aspect. I'm going to change the width to 6.5, and I want the height to be 8. I don't want it to be too big, but I also don't want it to be too small. So I'm going to go ahead and move this up in the upper corner, left corner. Now, we all automatically know that with HTV, your image has to be mirrored. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to right click on the image, and I'm going to click flip horizontally. That flips it or mirrors the image. Okay, so now I'm going to choose the draw a rectangle, and I'm going to draw a rectangle around this image to be sure not to get any part of the image on these lines. Now the reason why I do this is so that when, like, I'm using a full sheet of dark purple HTV and it hasn't ever been used, I'm using this rectangle to draw a box around the design when it gets finished. For one, it helps with weeding, and for two, it helps eliminate scrap HTV or HTV that you could use later on. So all I'm going to have to do is cut this section out, and it's just a lot less messy in my opinion. So now we're ready to cut, or get ready to cut. I'm going to click the rectangle we just made. I'm going to go to cut settings, and I'm going to choose cut edge for the rectangle, because that way it only cuts the edge. Now I'm going to, of course the image is already set to cut, but I'm going to choose it anyway and make sure it is set to cut. Now I'm using HTV smooth. Make sure you click that in your material type. All right, ratchet blade. I cut my smooth HTV on a 1. And my speed is a 6. My thickness is 4. I do not do double cut. I do line segment overcut. I leave it on and only click each arrow up once. So it's 0.1 start and end for the line segment overcut. This does not make a huge difference, but it's just what I do. You can do it or not. Okay, now we're ready to cut. Everything looks great. Make sure your HTV is loaded onto your mat. Remember, shiny side down. Make sure your image is mirrored, and go ahead and send to the Silhouette. Now our image has been cut and weeded, and it is ready to be flipped around so that you can see what the image will look like. And now we need to cut out our image and remove any excess HTV that we do not want pressed. I heat my heat press at 350 degrees. I place the shirt on the platen and I press for 10 seconds to get out any extra moisture that may be in the shirt before I place my image. Then I place my image where I want it. I press for 15 seconds, lift up, press for 10 more seconds, and my HTV recommends a hot peel. So I peel that image, then I press for an additional 10 seconds. Now your shirt is complete. You can fold it and package it and give it as a gift or give it to any child that you wish. A couple of tips for you and your customers. Slip a piece of cardboard inside of the shirt to help to prevent the markers bleeding through on the back of the shirt. Also, before you throw in the wash, you can also spray a stain remover that will help pull the colors back out. Thank you for joining me in today's tutorial. I hope you make many creations. We would like to see them. If you would like to share with us, share on our Facebook page or Crafty Chaotic Life. Thank you again for joining us. We will see you next time.